Since World War II, migration in and out of Europe has increased. Immediately after the war, many Europeans who had been displaced returned home, and many others moved to work on the reconstruction of Europe. Some people, however, could not return home because their cities had been bombed, or their home country did not welcome them, as was the case of ethnic Germans living in Poland, Czechoslovakia, and Russia. These displaced people joined the flow of immigrants within Europe. People from Ireland and Southern Europe left stagnated economies at home to work in Western Europe. Most were issued temporary work permits, and it was expected that they would work for a few years and then return home. These guest workers were initially welcomed because they fulfilled the labor shortage in Western Europe that was caused by the world wars. However, in the 1970s, a severe economic crisis related to rising oil prices hit Europe. There were many anti-immigrant protests, and countries with lots of immigrants tried to reduce employment-related migration to protect their citizens' jobs, but they failed. A new trend that also developed during this time period was the reunification of families. Previously, only one or two family members had come to work, but now whole families moved to Western European countries and were reluctant to leave for several reasons. The standard of living and economic situation in their home country was often much worse than in Western Europe. They feared not being able to return to their host countries if they left, and there was now a second generation of immigrants born in the host countries who had many of the same rights as the natives. More recently, immigrants have come into Europe from former USSR countries, Sub-Saharan Africa, and Asia. Countries such as Ireland, Spain, and Italy that were formerly sources of immigrants now receive many immigrants themselves. There has also been an increase in refugees seeking asylum in Europe. These people are fleeing war or persecution in their home countries. Many refugees come to Western Europe because of the wars in the Balkans. Since the fall of the Soviet Union, there has been an increase of immigration from Eastern European countries that were formerly communist to Western Europe. A major problem that European countries face when dealing with immigration is the integration of the immigrants into European society. An example of this is that of the Turkish and Germany. Germany doesn't have a path to citizenship for immigrants, so they are given guest worker status even though some of them have lived in Germany for generations. Often, the immigrants live and work in enclaves within but not fully a part of the surrounding society. They face racism and discrimination. Like all immigrants, people in Europe have struggles with unemployment and battles with the bureaucratic system, but life is not all bad for them. Because of the strength of the labor union movement in Europe, immigrants have many of the same rights as European citizens in the workplace. Since 1950, immigration into Europe has increased greatly, and European countries face the still unresolved challenges of integrating these people into their society.